We are the lads from the Tilton. We'll support you till the end of the day. We're so happy following the blues. We love you, what more can we say? Birmingham's the team, down at St Andrews. We are all supporters of our team. We chanted Super Blues, ringing all around. Now all you blue boys know what we mean. We are the lads from the Tilton. We'll support you till the end of the day. We're so happy following the blues. We love you, what more can we say? Let's hear you in the cup, singing our song, helping and sharing the load. It's worth the point at home when we sing together. We're there at the end of the road. We are the lads from the Tilton. We'll support you till the end of the day. We're so happy following the blues. We love you, what more can we say? We have a team that's tops here at St Andrews. They're gonna give us what we're longing for. It's Birmingham forever. Let's hear it from the stand. So come and sing.
Nick, you're on mute. Nick, you're on mute. You're on mute.
We are the lads from the Tilton.
A very good evening and welcome to the Tilton Talk Show. It's Monday night, 7:30. That's what Mondays are for. This, of course, coming to you live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and going out on Switch Radio tomorrow night. Of course, our principal sponsors are Boyle Sports, principal sponsor of Birmingham Football, in conjunction with our good friends at SAS Autos. And, of course, we mustn't forget our good friends over there at the Bordsey Labour Club and the Garrison Coffee Company.
Hey.
Sorry, ladies and gents, I'm sure Chris will let it out before it goes on Switch tomorrow. And tonight, we're, of course, with the one and only Mr. Red, Mark Adams.
Hello, everybody. Good evening. Oh, not again.
And, of course, as every week, Mr. Hipkiss, one and only Mr. Sheen.
Good evening, all.
Mrs. Brown.
Good evening.
And, ladies and gents, we are absolutely thrilled and proud to bring in the one and only scorer of that one goal at Liverpool, the one and only Ricky Otto.
Good evening, guys. Thanks for having me. Good to be here.
We haven't had you yet. We only just started, mate. You know what I mean? Where's the hair gone, Ricky?
Well, when I did cut it, I put it under the stairs somewhere, but it's probably gone back into the earth somewhere. So, yeah.
I put it in an envelope. We could have auctioned that. We could have raised some money for it.
You could have probably. I did think about what to do with it because I had it in a bag for a number of years. Although I felt like when I cut it, it was an end of an era because obviously I grew my locks whilst I was in prison. So I felt like when I got released from prison and I started playing football, then my life kind of changed. And so when I cut it, I felt like that again, that was another end of an era. So I struggled for years to actually just throw it away. And that's why I kept it under the stairs for so long. But then once I moved, I can't even tell you where it is now.
Superb. Well, needless to say, you've turned your life complete circles. We ain't interested in what you went to prison for. That's all in the past. That's in the past. Tonight is all about your career at Birmingham City and, of course, what you're doing now and just having a general chat and a laugh as we go along through the show. And, boy, do we laugh, believe me. Oh, my goodness me. So it's now past to Otto, is it?
Well, yeah, but you can just call me Ricky, man. You don't have to be formal with me.
I know, mate. Look, I'm not... Look, Ricky, I mean, me and Chris Brown are both ordained ministers.
Officially, yeah. I've got my card somewhere as well, yeah.
Well, I'm sure Bill Shankly said that football is a religion, isn't it?
Oh, definitely.
He did.
I ain't got a clue what it was. It was some little hut in America, I think.
It is, yeah. There are 3 states where I can perform a wedding, apparently. And a funeral.
Okay, right. Okay, just on to Saturday's game then. Wow. A good start, bright start. And then that goal. I mean, goodness great. I mean, if in doubt, the biggest rule in football is Paul Hipkiss.
Kick it out, play to the whistle.
Kick it out, man. Don't put your arms up when the ball is still in play. What a ridiculous decision to make. Oh, man. Do you know, it's a good job there was no fans there, I think.
Yeah, I was thinking back after how many individual errors have actually cost us so far this season. There's quite a few, isn't there? You know, if we can cut that out, we just need to cut it out, stop doing it, and it's just basics, isn't it?
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you see any of it, Ricky, at all, the game Saturday?
To be honest with you, the last year has been so hectic ministerially because I've dealt with a lot of bereavement, and so I haven't even really had time to kind of sit down and enjoy watching football and just take it all in. It's been horrendous. I mean, myself, I've suffered 5 close people. I had to officiate my own dad's funeral.
Okay.
You know, my wife's mum passed away, and 2 of my mentors, ministers that when I became a Christian, died. So it's been horrendous for me and my family. But then I've had to deal with the wider church, and I wouldn't be lying if I said to you that I've had to kind of deal with bereavement counselling to at least about 12 different individuals who are suffering loss. So I've got to be honest with you, the last year my head has just been all over the place. I don't even know who's playing for Birmingham again right now. It's just been that manic ministerial-wise, because although we cannot come to church, we're able to be online and minister and counsel people. So it's been a bit of a whirlwind for me. So I'm not up to form or up to speed, should I say, with a lot of the results and everything.
Yeah, sure,
Ricky,
sure.
Birmingham fans behind you, mate. Don't worry. We're all
Thank
with
you.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
I'll tell you what, this family that we've got that listen to this and watch this show week in and week out. Wow. Oh, my goodness me. We've got a little one for you here. Just need this phone to be switched on a second and I'll be with you. There's a young lady in Birmingham, and she's going to be exactly 100 years old very shortly, right? 100.
Wow.
Now, there's not many people that make that milestone, and she has no relatives, none. No husband, no sisters, no daughters, grandchildren, great-grandchildren. Why? Once this lady has left this mortal coil, her lineage has gone from this earth forever. That is it. Right. Now, we've received a message. I know we've all seen it, right? So it says, "Good afternoon. My name is Stacey, and I work at Heartlands Care Nursing Home. I was wondering whether we could ask for a kind favour." Now, you're all Birmingham City fans, and I did put on the Tilton Talk page the other night that you're going to need a pen and paper tonight. So please grab that now, because I'll give an address out in a second. And I know what you're going to do. I know the response for this is going to be absolutely massive tonight. We have today a lovely lady who will be turning 100 on the 13th of February. Unfortunately, she doesn't have any family. I'm reaching out to see if there is anyone who would be willing and able to send her a card to wish her a happy birthday. If you could, we would really appreciate it and would go a long way to making her day a special one. Her name is Lillian. Her favourite colour is purple, and she loves anything royal. Please post too. We will put this up not only on the Tilton Talk page, but also on the shout box in a minute. If Chris could type this out. Stacey Debney, Debney, Heartlands Nursing Home, 50, that's 50, Broadstone Road, Yardley, Birmingham, B262BN. That's Stacey Debney, Heartlands Nursing Home, 50 Broadstone Road, Yardley, Birmingham, B262BN. I've got my card here. It's ready to be written tonight and posted tomorrow.
Fantastic. Hey,
so let's make this day. Come on, Blues fans.
And we know full well they'll answer the call, Nick.
Oh, mate, you know, I've written to Stacey actually, and said that we're going to put this appeal out tonight, and I just hope that your postman's got really big arms.
yeah.
That's going to happen. That is going to happen. So everybody, come on, it's a birthday card. This lady's 100. She's got no family, kind of like, very close friends, etc., etc., etc. So let's do what we can do as Birmingham City fans, club together as we always do, and please send this beautiful lady a card. That's it. It's as easy as that.
We'll post that again later as well. We'll remind people again later.
That's it.
Yeah. So, Ricky.
Yes, sir.
Christmas 1994. I remember you signing for us. You come out on the pitch and you signed that contract in front of us all, didn't you?
That's correct. Yeah.
I
think if my memory serves me correctly, that was 17th of December.
Okay.
Ooh.
Don't ask me why I remember the day, but no, that's a lie. I should remember it because for me it was quite historical. So yeah, I remember most things about that day. Yeah, it was the 17th of December '94.
You said you had a bad memory. That's a good memory.
Yeah. And Anthony Garvey's commented about you tearing us to shreds before then for Southend when you played against us.
Yeah, I remember that game very well because I think Barry, he left to come and be manager of Birmingham. I think it was around the Christmas period in '93. At that stage, you guys were in the second division and we were in the first division and we were doing very well. Yeah, I think at the stage when Barry left, we were third in the first division and doing extremely well. I really believe if Barry did stay and the momentum that we had, I think we could have really done something ridiculous at Southend. But he left. And I think it wasn't too long. You guys came back to play us. I think it was it Boxing Day or something like that in December. Yeah, and there was so much enthusiasm about the game. I mean, that game needed no introduction. Just the fact that Barry Fry was coming back with his Birmingham side.
Yeah,
that's all it needed. I think everyone in Southend was just rooting for us to just win, just so that we can kind of send Barry back up to the Midlands with his tail between his legs. And so I remember it was a good game, a great game. And we just kind of we just flew on the wings of the fans and all the enthusiasm. And I think we won 4-2.
Yeah. And then eventually you made your debut for us, didn't you, against Cambridge, which was...
yes.
in your own words, Ricky.
Do you know what? There's moments in your life where I think when you do something or something happens, you just know it's going to be one of those moments that you're going to remember for the rest of your life. And if you forget, people will always remind you. And that was one of those moments, coming in as Birmingham's record signing at the time. It was huge for me and my family, that's for sure, because, I'd only been out of prison less than 4 years. So to do what I'd done in football in such a short space of time was monumental for me. And then coming to a big club like Birmingham, and for all that money, you kind of want to get off to a good start. And it did, if I remember rightly. I remember scoring.
Yeah.
And so, the perfect start. I think there was 22,000 there at the time. And, that's the best way any player would want to start, get a goal, play well. And that was it. And everything was going very well until, I think it was second half. I don't think there was much left in the game. I think there must have only been about maybe 10, 15 minutes max of the game left. But I remember the corner was coming in. And I normally am kind of just off the near post, 6-yard box-ish. And I was, I can jump quite high. So that's where I normally position myself. And I just remember the ball coming in and I just tried to head it and it just skidded off my head. And all I remember in slow motion, everything just went silent. And I looked and I was like, no, because I've never scored an own goal before, never. 9 times out of 10, I'm heading that ball out.
Yeah.
But it just skidded off my forehead. And I just remember the stadium went, and I just remember going, no. And that was it. And I just remember, all I can remember after the game is like walking into the changing room. And because you don't really know the players that well, yes, I knew the management and a couple of players I knew well, but it's a new changing room. I'm in a new city. You know, all I want to do now is just go home. But I can't go home because I'm in the Midlands. So I went back to my hotel, and even when I walked into the foyer, the people around the desk stood still and they didn't know what to do, because it's like, you know, everyone's heard that the record signing has scored a goal in both ends. and now in the hotel, they don't know what to do. They don't know how to respond. So when I walked in the door and I walked in the foyer, everyone just kind of froze. They didn't know what to do. I just walked there to just give me my keys, man. And they gave me my keys, and I just went upstairs and I stayed there for the rest of the night. I was the loneliest person that night, because honestly, it's not the start you want. You have to remember, it's on the news. I just locked myself away, man, and just tried to kind of just dust myself back on Monday morning. But I think if I remember rightly, I did redeem myself the next game away at Cardiff.
Yes. Well, you redeemed yourself. Many great memories and great moments. And as a fan going in them times, it was just great times. You know, great squad we had.
Yeah.
And that season that we went up from obviously what is now League One to the Championship was just fantastic. You know,
amazing.
And obviously we had the auto windscreen shield as well, and it was just great times. Yeah.
Support as well.
I mean, to be fair, when I considered, or when it became apparent that, you know what, I'm going to come up to Birmingham, those were the very reasons why I really came up, because although we were in the first division and you guys was in the second, it was clear in my mind that you guys were going to get promoted. And I think at the time, I remember, because I'd spoken to Baz a couple of times, and then you guys just got drawn to play Liverpool in the third round of the FA Cup. And I was like, I would love to play that game. You know what I mean? So when I looked at where Birmingham were and where they could go and the way the season can pan out, that played a major part in, you know, me going up there and being a part of that. And then obviously seeing how we kick on for the following season. So for me, it was a kind of a no-brainer. You know, the project that Birmingham was or had started, it far exceeded whatever could have happened at Southend, to be fair.
Yeah, well, we just rebuilt the Cop and Tilton as well, hadn't we? We'd only just
that's correct.
Before you signed, and I remember Alan Hansen saying that Liverpool will easily beat Birmingham as well on Match of the Day. And I don't know if that got through to the players, but he couldn't have been any further from the truth. You know, he was miles off it.
Well, he's made a few statements that he's got wrong, hasn't he? Let's be honest.
Yeah. So,
but that was a tremendous moment for me.
I mean, YouTube. Oh man, you know, I tell you what, I know exactly where I was at that point in time. I was in a pub in my hometown, and somebody's got a photograph of me actually jumping out of my skin off the chair, right, and like just going mental around the pub. Where were you, Paul?
I was at St Andrews watching it. Are you talking about Liverpool away? Yeah, the replay.
The replay.
Yeah, I was at St Andrews watching it on the big screen. So they had it on the big screen. They had it on the big screen at St Andrews, and I was watching it there. And
I remember being at home. I remember listening on Tom Ross, the commentary, and just going ballistic when Ricky equalised. It was just
talk us through it, Ricky. Talk us through it, Ricky. Kenny Lowe to Steve Claridge. Steve Claridge to you.
Yeah. Well, before we get to that moment, I have to be honest with you. I felt I was having an absolute stinker of a game, because when we got to the game, Baz put me up front. And I'm sure I'll get to talk about this later, but I felt that my relationship with the fans started off on the wrong footing anyway, because I think when Barry went to Karen Brady and the Gold Brothers and that to get me, he said I was a striker to them. And what happened is, I think most of the fans kind of got into their head that they were buying a striker when actually I was a left midfielder. And so I think when I came to the club, I think there was a little bit of, I'm not scoring goals. I'm playing on the left. But that was my natural position. The fact that I scored 17 goals for Southend the season prior, that's what Barry Fire used to go and get the 800,000 to go and buy me. So I think I started off on the wrong footing with the fans, but we'll get back to that. But that's what happened at the Liverpool game. The Liverpool game, he put me as a striker. And for the whole of that first half, Razor Rajat was just coming through me, man. Every time I touched the ball,
One of the favourite people of all time.
Man. Every time I touched the ball, I mean, the first tackle, I didn't even know where the floor or the sky was, man. You know, I just remember just landing with a big thud, and that kind of just, you know, perplexed me a little bit, because every time I got the ball, he would just bang on me. And playing up front and playing on the wing is two completely different roles. You know, on the wing, I'm used to getting the ball and I can see the big picture and go for it. A lot of the times, as a striker, you're playing with your back towards the goal. You've got to hold it up to try and bring someone into play. Just it's too much. And he was getting me on my first touch. And so at half time, I come in and Barry had a go at me. Well, I just went ballistic on him. I mean, I was saying things to him that didn't even involve football. I was just giving it to him. Do you know what I mean? Because by that stage, I was just angry. I was vexed. Do you know what I mean? This is a big platform. Do you know what I mean? We drew with them. So this is a replay. So, you know, we fancied ourselves and I just wasn't playing well. So after the argument at half time, Barry put me on the wing. And then I started to get into the game more. And so by the time the goal come, as you said, I remember, I think it, you know, if I remember, was it Phil Babb? He went to whack the ball up, but it was a bit of a shank. And it come down and I think I won the ball. You can't actually see it, but I think it was a great touch by myself personally. It was a great touch where it went to low. You can't actually see the touch, but I know I touched it.
We believe you. We believe you.
And then it went to Low, and then I remember Low was able to get the ball to Claridge. So someone kind of clattered Low, but just before he got clattered, he got the ball to Claridge. And then as Claridge got the ball, he got clattered. But I remember I was behind Claridge, but he knew I was there. And I didn't want to say, Claridge, give it to me, because Rob Jones would have known I was there. He didn't actually know I was there. So I knew Claridge knew I was there. And just before he got clattered, he got the ball to me. But I knew I had a split second because McManaman was coming down on me. So I knew, literally, I had one touch outside of the boot, all in one go. And I knew the moment I hit it, I was off. Because you just know. You strike a ball enough times. And I knew as I touched it, bang, outside of the boot, I was off because David James wasn't ready for that. And, you know, even to this day, that's 15 seconds. If I didn't have the video, and I've watched it 100,000 times, but I still can't tell you what I was feeling. It was just man-mountain stuff. And I remember running down towards Barry, and Barry's like, yeah! And I'm calling him, you fat this, you fat that. I told you, you fat this. You should have put me, you fat this. I was just, you know. But we got back in after, and I think the good thing with Barry is you can have a goal and it's forgotten. But after scoring that goal, I think I had to now try to bring myself down because it's such a, you know, scoring at Anfield. I grew up in the 70s and Liverpool was the team. You know, you see the Anfield sign. So I'm still playing football as a professional footballer, but I'm still going to these grounds as a fan. And, you know, when you're going to Anfield as a fan and you're looking at, you know, that was a ground, that was like the holy grail. So to play there, you know, and I think at the time, I think they were getting crowds of 48,000. I was a fan. And to score, I had to stop thinking of all the Liverpool friends I've got back home and concentrate on the game. So now that I've scored, I had to try and bring myself down, but I couldn't get out of my head. I'm just flipping scored at Anfield Trent. And it wasn't a tapping. I mean, it was a pearl.
Barry couldn't believe it either.
Honestly, I couldn't get my head around it. And then before you know it, I had another chance. If I'd have just swung my right foot, I think I would have scored. But no, honestly, it was monumental. And again, another moment in my career at Birmingham that I knew would probably live with me forever. And it has. It's proven to be so. I'm never tired of coming into contact with Birmingham fans. And that's one of those moments. It's like they remember where they were. For me to bring that kind of joy and remembrance to somebody, you know, I couldn't ask for more.
Go on, Nick.
Sat here the other night. I've got to put that Ricky Otto goal on.
Yes.
Loved it. Anyway, we've got a couple more announcements, guys, if you wouldn't mind me just doing these. One from Craig Courtney this week. We've been informed that a big blue nose and stand-up comic Fat Theo has been suffering with COVID-19 and has been in and out of ICU, but has now been moved back to the ward. Theo's breathing is getting better, So things are looking good. We at the Tilton Talk Show would like to wish Theo well and would like to get as many messages as possible to him. Messages here, and we'll make sure they reach him. Get well soon, Theo. Right, and if you could find me the other one, then I'll do that one at the same time. Now, unfortunately, my computer's hung again. I keep asking for this new iPad, Chris, but it don't come. You know, I mean, she's had hot buckets, she's had, gobstoppers.
Well, she needs training up. She needs training up.
Just an iPad, that's all I want, just an iPad. Exactly. And the other one, which was a lovely message, which I saw over the weekend. It's always great to hear from listeners regarding the support Tilton Talk Show brings. Following Monday's show, we received the following. You four lads are so down to earth, no big egos, and mix really well together. Just great listening to you talk about the Blues every week. Great show last night, as always. I live in Poole, Dorset, and until the last 2 or 3 years, came up for loads of games and all the London Southern games. Hard to get away tickets now. As rightly they go away to away season ticket regulars. I'm pushing 70 now, but young at heart. So the drive up and back a day and petrol got a bit much, really. I watched non-league down here, mostly Weymouth, Dorchester, and I still love going to a game. Yeah, as I said, your show is great for me to look forward to, especially in this crazy time. And the effort you all put in is brilliant. And as Nick said last night, 10 years commitment, real commitment. So Chris, Nick, Mark, and Paul, he got one name wrong. Do beg your pardon. So Chris, Nick, Mark, and Paul, take a bow. You Blues legends, you're 100%. Keep right on to you all. Thanks for the kind words there from Joe Donahoe. Thank you very much, Joe.
That's
really
lovely. That's lovely.
Yeah,
Joe.
I know we've done this all through. We've kept going, Ricky, all through COVID, even though there were no games on, and we couldn't not do this. You know what I mean? Because we are a link. We're a link pin to keep all our supporters to keep chatting. Whether that's about game stuff, fun stuff, this, that, and the other, the odd joke here and there. And the guest list has been absolutely superb. We've got to praise and say thank you to Craig Courtney so very much for all the hard work. To be honest, as well. And there are others as well that do so much to help the show. And Nigel Mann put a little while ago after that POI that I put for Lillian's birthday. Lots of people said they're sending cards. Nick, I put this out on LinkedIn. 15,000 views.
Wow. That's brilliant.
That's fantastic. That's
amazing.
We've had some of your ex-teammates on, Ricky. We've had Benno on. We've had Mark Ward. We've had Daishy as well.
Gosh, man, those are some names, isn't it?
Yeah.
You're putting me under pressure for this first 11.
You might have to change a few now, Ricky.
My goodness.
And signed by Otto after the final Wembley. My mum to wash the shirt a week later. Keep right on from New Zealand.
That's excellent.
All across the world. We have listeners from all over the world, including Warrington.
That's amazing.
And Warrington, There's quite a few questions that have come up on the shout box. Apologies, I have missed a couple. Stephen Gill wants to know, what's Ricky's best goal and favourite gaffer? We probably know the answers, Ricky, but
well, my favourite gaffer, it definitely ain't Trevor Francis, that's for sure.
Come on, spill the beans.
No, it's nothing in it. No. You know, I think with some managers, you get them with some, and you just don't get them with others. But I think with Trevor Francis, I think he, at the time, he just wasn't as honest about what he was doing, and I don't like dishonest. Well, not dishonest.
Yeah.
He just wasn't as upfront. Yeah, that's the word, upfront.
Right.
But that's about it. I knew about Trevor Francis. He likes yes men.
All right. Okay.
We're all saying yes.
Kevin Tomlinson wants to know, who's the best player he played with at the Blues?
The best player
you played with.
That's a big question, but I think considering I'm the kind of a person I like flair, I like trickery, I like players that can get the fans off their seat. And for me, there were no one better than Jose Dominguez at that, man.
Oh yeah, quality.
He was ridiculous. Do you know what I mean? I mean, he done things that we just used to stand up there and just laugh and giggle, man. Just for me, I would put him, do you know what I mean, as a natural, skillful person that when he got the ball, you could actually hear the fans just, you know what I mean? Their temperature just rose, man. And fans were already on their feet. And so I like those kind of players. So yeah, I'd have to say Jose.
Yeah. I was a bit gutted when he missed out on Wembley, to be honest. It was a shame. Didn't he have international duty or something? Under 21s Portugal or something?
I don't know, man. I can't even remember that far.
Remember he missed.
He didn't play
in the final.
Wow.
He missed out.
Yeah.
But then again, that might be to my fortune, because maybe he would have played instead of me. Who knows? You know, with Barry Fry, anything can happen on the day, man. So maybe that's to my advantage. But you've just raised my attention. I didn't even realise that. Gosh, he didn't play, did he?
No, he missed it.
I knew it would have had to have been something, obviously, to do with football and not getting there, because obviously, you know, being contracted to your club, you know, you can't just not play unless there was some kind of loophole. So, that sounds about right, to be fair.
Ricky, can you remember much about... Sorry,
Go on. I don't know whether you're aware that there's been a gypsy curse placed on St Andrews for many, many years. Now, Barry tried to get rid of it by being told to go and have a wee on all of the 4 court posts, and that didn't work. And then we had another vicar in, and that didn't work. Now, Linda Magnus, question for Ricky. As you're a minister, can you please come and bless the ground at St Andrews and get rid of this gypsy? That's because tried didn't work.
But you won't have to go into the 4 corners and urinate.
I won't have to go and urinate in the 4 corners.
No.
It's fair about the 4 corner one, Ricky.
I have heard, because I remember when Barry done an interview, and apparently someone did bring that to his attention, that, you know, there is this gypsy curse. I also heard something like, isn't the ground supposed to be on some old cemetery or something like that? I'm not sure.
As well, yeah.
I've heard that as well. But needless to say, whatever Baz did, if he did do something, you know, I don't think it worked.
Maybe just for that one season.
Well, no.
Yeah.
Mate, just try, please.
So, Ricky, going back to Wembley, can you remember much about Barry's team talk prior to the game and your assist for Tatey's header? And obviously the infamous T-shirt as well, you know, the fantastic T-shirt that he had on.
I think, you see, Barry's team talks, it wasn't like... Barry he was a kind of a manager where he believed in you.
Yeah.
I bought you because you're good.
Yeah.
So go out there and play. That's, you know, using choice words. So his team talks wasn't like a very tactical type team talk. It was literally like, you know what? If you do your jobs well and you do what I brought you here to play, you'll win. Just go out there and make sure you just do the right stuff quickly, early doors, and go and win. So the team talk, it wasn't really that deep. I think Steenie used to do more of the team talk. But again, I think when I look at like Barry, Edwin, David Howells, you know, their team talk was really just based around, we brought you here because you're good, do your jobs right, and we'll win. So they were very short, not really long-winded or stuff like that. We all knew what our jobs was. Yeah. So I just remember, fundamentally, Barry just telling us to enjoy it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That was fundamental. Amongst all the hype that was going on, because it was huge for a lot of us, because a lot of us hadn't played at Wembley. I mean, it was anticipated that there's going to be a big crowd. We knew already as players that I think about 50,000 tickets were already sold. So we knew we were going down there as favourites. Yeah. We knew we were going to have a big crowd. So most of us, I think for Barry, it was a case of, guys, you're good. I bought you here because you're good. If you perform the way you've been performing this season, well, wipe Carlisle to the floor. So just go out there, do the right things right, enjoy the occasion. It's a big occasion. Because I think what he really wanted to do is deflect away from the expectation that we were expected to win.
Yeah.
And so fundamentally, I just remember him just saying, go out there and enjoy it. And again, I think he named the team. We knew we were playing from, was it the night before? I think the night before. Because I remember going to the game knowing that I'm playing. So that's always good. Because when you're knowing you're playing, you can just get your head right from the night before. But yeah, fundamentally, it was just him just saying, listen, man, enjoy the occasion. If you do what you do well, I rate you guys as players, you'll win. But I think we have to remember what was fundamental is for us, it was winning the league, getting out of Division 2 and getting into Division 1. And we had Brentford on the Wednesday.
Yeah.
And that was the game that everyone was looking forward to. But again, that was the game that Barry Fry was trying to say, well, let's not think about Wednesday for now.
Yeah.
You know, let's just enjoy this occasion, win or lose. We'll enjoy it, but the real game is on Wednesday. So, yeah, I think Barry was just more about enjoy the game, enjoy the occasion. It's at Wembley.
Is it safe to say it was more inspirational rather than a tactician?
Yeah, well, you see, Barry Fry, he's a fan, isn't it? He's a fan. He's a kind of a, you know, I've played with some managers like Peter Taylor. He was very technical in his training, in his method. Barry Fry was very much, listen, man, you know what I mean? I brought you here because you can play, so go and play and express yourself. So I think it was more like that. It was more inspirational with a good little kick up the backside, you know, that kind of inspiration. But again, I think it was an occasion that everyone wanted to enjoy, even for Barry again, because I think for Barry, managing a big side and the potential that we can, you know, do the double and have that kind of celebration and just kind of you know, just make the fans enjoy it as well. I think Barry Fry, he didn't want to get too technical. He just thought, you know what, guys, if you go out there and express yourself, you'll win this game. So let's go and enjoy it. And then look forward to Wednesday.
It must have been a fun time, though. It must have been a fun time to be at Blues.
It was a fun time. It was a fun time. But again, you have to remember, as players, sometimes it weren't always fun because you've got 52 pros in the end. So sometimes you don't know whether you're playing or not. Sometimes you turn up on a Saturday and that's when you're being told you're playing. And the reason why I say that is because many of us, we were coming from other clubs where we were playing often. So in terms of preparation, you can prepare properly throughout the week. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that we're at nightclubbing during the week. That's not it, because we weren't doing that. But there is still something mental in your makeup where when you know you're playing often, you know, you're training, you're eating right, you're living right, because your mind's on Saturday. But I think when Baz come to Birmingham, big club, big budget, it seemed like every time we lost a game, Barry thought the only solution was to buy another player. Well, in the end, you know, we had 52 pros on the book. 52 pros on the book. Now, all of a sudden, you can't really kind of take it for granted that you're going to go and play on Saturday. You just don't know. And that does something to your makeup. It does something to your psyche. So you're kind of still iffing and butting, humming and hawing. Am I playing on Saturday?
I think that's when they extended the car park at the Sedgemere, wasn't it?
They've done something, definitely. You know, but I think that brought a lot of unrest with players. And then again, you know, I'm the kind of a player. Once I'm playing, I can build on momentum. If I make a mistake, you know, you kind of need the manager to know and believe that, you know, you can rectify mistakes. I had that luxury at Orient and Southend. I didn't have that luxury as often at Birmingham. Ricky, you liked your music back then as well, didn't you? I remember at the Sedgemere when I was about 15, 16, and you turned up to training, and I think you had like a bass bin in your boot or something, and your tunes were blasting. Yeah, well, you know what? I think it was an amazing time for many of us because the 90s, it was a crazy era. But when I say crazy, not in crazy out of order, but there was so many things that was popping in the 90s. Do you know what I mean? And I think we all was part of that whole kind of craze of just kind of going for it. The 90s was a serious decade for a lot of us. Young, growing up, we're fulfilling our dreams, playing football. And so we kind of were just enjoying that moment. And so, for me, music has always been a big part of my life. Yeah, me too. And when I bought the car, the bass spin was already in the car. And so the guy said to me, do I want the bass? I said, well, keep the bass spin. Why don't you take the bass spin out? If it's already there, why take it out? So, you know, I felt like it was supposed to be. So, but we all used to love music, going into training, music in the changing rooms, music, away games on the coach. That was just, brilliant. You know, at that time, the camaraderie within the camp.
Yeah. I can't live without music either.
No.
Yeah. I'd rather listen to music than watch telly sometimes, to be honest.
Yeah, me too.
Absolutely.
Apparently,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
had a green BMW, did you, Ricky? Did you have a green BMW? With the
Yes, green
private
BMW
registration?
convertible.
Very nice.
M40 TTO.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't know what that is,
M4
but it
Otto.
sounds good.
Yeah, M4 Otto. At the time, the reason why I went that way, because at the time, MREG was in. It was MREG, and so it was a new car, and then the plate was M40 TTO, which meant really M for Otto. So it almost sounds like MREG for Otto.
Yeah.
So that's why I went for it.
I remember you signing your autograph for. Me, and I was having a dance while I was waiting.
Oh, I wish you had that on video now.
Oh, that'd be good.
Did you have hair then?
I did, yeah, jet black hair.
Serious message here from Ricky.
Go on, Nick.
Ricky, there's a gentleman called Michael Cleary.
Yeah.
Remember his name for later. And he said, ask Ricky if he'll say a prayer for a great friend of mine who passed away suddenly last Friday. That's Michael Cleary. Michael, we're all with you. We're all one family here, mate. And I'm sure, Ricky, you'll do the business for him shortly.
Absolutely,
Michael Cleary.
no doubt. Consider it done.
Thank
Absolutely.
you.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah.
Liverpool have signed Ben Davies from Preston.
Oh, right, okay.
Okay.
Not to make any difference. I know. I'm just keeping you up to date. I'm just having a look, seeing what's going on.
While you're on the subject, of that, Nick, we've got Sam Cosgrove obviously in from Aberdeen, and we've got Keandra Simmons from Man City as well.
This Simmons looks a prospect, doesn't he, Paul?
I've not seen him play yet at all, but obviously if he's coming from Man City's academy, then I would imagine he's got something about him.
Yeah.
He's got to be in there.
Yeah.
He's no Ricky Otto, but you know.
Right, ladies and gents, boys and girls, I told you to have. We're going to have a little bit of fun tonight. We're going to have a little bit of fun, and what we're going to do each week is bring you a truth. That truth is something that happened to either Mr. Hipkiss, myself, Mr. Mann, or Mr. Adams. And the question is, and Paul, unfortunately, my computer's just saying, cannot play your video, blah, blah, blah. So, Paul, could you keep your eye on the answers and just do a tick chart over the next literally 4 minutes? That's it, 4 minutes, yeah?
Yeah.
Who, four of us, once played the role of Puff the Magic Dragon's tail? Which one of the four of us once played the role of Puff the Magic Dragon's tail? 4 minutes, starting from now. Off you go.
Okay.
Off you go. And let's do who tallies up to get the winner.
Okay.
So which one out of the four of us played the role of Puff the Magic Dragon's tail? There you go.
While we're doing that, Ricky, I want you to talk us through your assist in the Auto Windscreens final, obviously, for Tate's header.
Oh, yeah. That was amazing. I remember, I think it was the Wednesday or the Thursday, I done an interview. I think it was for the Evening Mail. And the reporter at the time asked me, what would be, if you could write the script yourself, how would you want to see the game go? I said, well, obviously scoring. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because, again, growing up, Wembley was the hallowed turf. And I wanted to win at Wembley because the great players that have played at that stadium and gone up those 39 steps, I wanted to go up those steps as a winner. So I remember saying to him, obviously I would love to score, but I said, I tell you what, if I don't score, I will settle for being being involved in the goal. I'll settle for that all day long. And that's what happened. I mean, you all remember it, man. It was a bit of a long-winded game. It wasn't the best game, to be fair. It wasn't the best game. I think it only really got exciting when we got into the next goal wins.
Yeah.
Because that's when it really got exciting. I just remember, like, every time they got the ball, they was going forward. My heart was near my backside because I was thinking, don't score, because it was like winning goal. But it kind of took us back to when we used to play football at school.
Yeah.
Wembley, you know what I mean? The winning, the next goal wins.
Yeah.
So I remember just, piling under pressure. And I remember Wardy got the ball. And by then, everyone's legs are getting heavy. But I was a kind of a player, like, I was quite fit. So in those kind of, extra time, I still had a lot of energy. And I knew that the player I was playing against, he was tiring. So I just remember Wardy getting the ball out wide. And I just remember saying to myself, I've got to do something different because I've been trying to get outside of this player all game, but I wasn't successful. And I just remember jinking, like if I'm going to go into the outside, but then quickly just flicking the ball on the inside and just crossing the ball with my right foot. And I wasn't always the confident with my right foot. But I just went for it. I just whipped in that ball with my right foot. And all I remember again, it just come off Tatey's head and then it was a slow motion moment. I remember it come off his head and then I can just see that gap. The keeper's in the middle of the goal. The gap's there and the ball just kept going there. And it was a slow moment. And it was going there. And I was like all the other fans. And then when the ball hit the net, honestly, I remember it was just slow motion. The whole stadium was bouncing. And I just remember running as fast as I can because it just dawns on you we've won.
Wembley?
Yeah, and I remember Barry Fry, Steenie, all of them coming out the dugout. Yeah. And it was like slow motion, but the stadium was shaking. It was shaking.
Yeah.
And then I just stopped and just clapped.
Goosebumps, yeah.
Honestly, it just stopped because, remember, in the end, we took 55,000. So there was 76,000 in the stadium. And honestly, the noise, I mean, the noise when that ball went in, I mean, everyone just went in their own separate ways. I just remember running back to the halfway line. I don't know why. I just needed space to run. And I just ran as fast as I could until I collapsed. And it was an amazing feeling because the relief, more than anything else, it was just the relief. Because the game wasn't a really exciting game. It wasn't the best game. No. But, I mean, all of that is forgotten amongst the noise of knowing that you've won. Because, I mean, for us as players, you know, I remember the conversation in the changing room was like, you know what, that was a horrendous game, but at least we're making our fans go back up the motorway happy. Oh, yeah. That was the general consensus that a lot of us were saying. Because we knew it was a poor game. Well, you know what I mean? In 90 minutes and then the extra, it was a poor game. But that's what we were saying, at least they can, because once you've won, you don't really forget the dynamics of the game. But we just didn't want to make sure that 55,000 fans came down to Wembley. We was the favourites. The expectation was us to win and then lose. Because I think that would have had, or it could have impacted on Wednesday. But as it stood, you know, being able to provide Tatey with that goal, it kind of immortalizes me, doesn't it? Because that's for Tatey. Right. Yeah. I mean, that was Tatey's moment. Yeah. I mean, he is. I've never seen a more crazier fan for a football club like Tatey.
Yeah.
He is completely bonkers.
I was thinking right onto him when t-shirts off.
Huh?
Oh, and do you know that noise? You know that noise at the end?
Nick, your internet's playing up, Nick. You keep cutting out.
Yeah, mine is a bit too. I think our internet's been absolutely awful here this week, so apologies for that. Ricky, you back with us?
Yeah, I was on about yours.
Do you remember that noise at the end at Wembley when you take goal went in?
Yep.
Most of it came out of my God, mate, believe me.
Ricky, Tatey's actually listening and he's just said, ask him about me and him driving down to Wembley on the Thursday evening with him building a, shall we say, a herbal cigarette whilst balancing the steering wheel with his knees. We can cut this bit out, Ricky.
Well, you know, that was one of my many gifts, isn't it? You know what I mean? Trust Tatey to remember that, man. I think I would have been a bit more dignified and said to Tatey, I remember when me and Tatey was in the rave in Birmingham off our nuts.
Come on.
That's what I remember. Because if you go out with Tatey, trust me, you're going on an all-nighter, right? He ain't making you go home, man. Yeah, there's been a couple of times when, you know, me and Tatey's the last person dancing in the club, man, because Tatey knows how to party. I give him that, man.
Rave on.
Yeah, he can't dance to save his life, but he's got lungs, he's got wings, he can last the time. But again, things that we shouldn't have been doing. But I think in saying that, there's a lot of things I think football didn't know how to tackle. A lot of us, we're just street kids, man.
Yeah.
You know, we're coming from the street, and so, you know, football wasn't as strict as it is now. But I suppose if football knew certain things, they could have probably guided us a little bit more, and maybe we wouldn't have been so erratic. But hey, it is what it is. But those are the moments that kind of bond players. And like I said, I've always respected Tatey as he's a road man, he's a street man, he gets it. And for players like that, it's no surprise that me and him are rolling down the M1, going to the Wembley Hotel, having a happy fag.
He's on in a few weeks as well, Ricky. He's coming on in
Is
a few
he?
weeks. Yeah.
I can't wait. I just can't
and
wait.
Also,
It's going to be a good one.
and also a very big, tall blues player is coming on in a couple of weeks. There's a good clue in it.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
But I wanna say though, seeing as Tatey's listening, that like again for me, I think everyone at the club was so thrilled that it was Tatey that got the goal, because honestly, if there was, I mean, for Tatey, he just wanted to win. We all knew that he was blues bonkers, man. But for him to get that goal, but you know, everyone was pleased for him, and so I'm glad that he's been immortalized in Birmingham's history in that way
forever.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm just a side piece, because he can't head that goal without the person delivering it. So
course,
you know, I'm just jumping on the back of his immortalization. But no, I was thrilled that he scored that goal. I didn't know about the T-shirt though. He kept that from me and from other players. I didn't know that he had that T-shirt under him, but sod's law, isn't it?
It's a story,
for him to
Ricky,
score
right?
and to have that T-shirt.
Everybody had a T-shirt in a box. They had a box with T-shirts on the halfway line, and everybody took an extra T-shirt out and put it on. And the only one that was left, he said he didn't fabricate that himself. The only one that was left was that one with that round circle on it with a bulldog on it. And he put it on, and apparently he got hauled to Golds and Sullivan's office on the Monday after the game. Tatey was cacking himself, thinking that he was going to get like a proper doing for it. They asked him to sit down. He was cacking himself, and he said, "Right, you know where you're here, don't you, that T-shirt?" And Tatey went, "Yeah." He says, "I'm going to market them in the club shop." True story, Chris Brown, or true story, Chris Brown.
Listen, I mean, if you look at the Gold Brothers, they are entrepreneurial at the highest, isn't they? So I think there would have been a lot of Blues fans that would have bought that T-shirt.
Oh yeah,
definitely.
Yeah.
Of course. But again, it just endeared Tatey to his club, because trust me,
incredible.
Birmingham's his club, man. And so I'm so pleased for him that he's got that platform. He deserved it. He was a good player. He was a good player.
I was going to say,
What? He hasn't got the T-shirt anymore either.
No, he hasn't.
I know, but I'm just sitting there thinking to myself, gosh, I don't even know who my next 11 is, because now Tatey's in there. I've just picked him up. I'm going to try and put him in somewhere, ain't I? I'm under pressure here. I'm going to sack myself.
Is it fair to say that he was your favourite teammate at Blues?
Do you know what? And I'll be honest with you, there was lots of clicks with us. I mean, there wasn't any one click. We all just got on.
Yeah.
But I think with Tatey, we were into the same music, the same vibe. So there was a few of us. There was Tatey, there was Louis Donowa, do you know what I mean? Kevin Francis, like the same type of music. So there was a group of us that we just kind of enjoyed once we get the result. Do you know what I mean? And again, you got to remember at the time, a lot of us were single, so we didn't have any restrictions like, you know, any girlfriends wanting us to stay with them. We can go out and actually just enjoy socializing, and that's how it was. But I mean, in the changing room, we were all buddies. We were all just like, you know, having a crack with each other. And so Tatey was just one of those that when I was going out, and you got to remember, I was learning a lot about Birmingham City in the sense of location.
Yeah.
I'm coming from London. So Tatey was pivotal in helping me understand where to go, where not to go, who to muck about with, who not to muck about with. And for me, coming into a new city, that kind of information is vital to help me to know how to box clever in a place where I don't know no one. So people like Tatey, you stick close to them because they know the city, and then it enable people to not take liberties with myself, because everyone's coming to me, to us as players. Tatey was able to help, kind of like, don't muck about with them. No, don't go there. Don't do this. And that kind of information was key.
Sorry, Adam's asked.
Did
you have any, sorry, hang on, Nick. Ricky, did you have any pre-match rituals or superstitions, like like putting your left boot on first, etc., etc.?
Just have a spliff. if you want to keep it,
I'll cut that out.
if you want to keep it 100, if you want to keep it 100, again, you have to remember. I think a lot of people don't realize. I've been in prison 5 times, so I'm coming out with certain idiosyncrasies that if it's not been challenged, if it's not been addressed, I'm just thinking I'm just going on per normal. So for me, smoking weed was normal in my life, where I'm coming from. I had to come out of prison and make a life out of football while I was smoking weed. So unless it's going to be addressed, I just thought, well, I'm getting through. I'm getting by. So my ritual, that was it. I'll drive to the game, just have a little whiff, just to get me in the mood.
Do you ever go back to those days
But
where you went
earlier,
into
Rick,
prison?
we're not interested in why you're in prison or why you were in prison. That's not our interest. That's how did you make that transition then to become a professional footballer from that bad period in your life?
The truth of the matter is, and I think what a lot of people don't realise, when I was growing up in school, from the ages of 8, 9 years of age, I was at Tottenham Schoolboys at 10, 11 years of age. I was playing for Hackney. I was playing for London. My pedigree in football, I grew up playing against the likes of Paul Ince, David Rocastle, Mickey Thomas, Tony Adams, Paul Merson, because I was playing against those guys in district football. So when I was growing up in school football, I was considered one of the best footballers in London for my age. But what happened is, now when I look back on my life, not growing up without a father in my life, in black families, especially mothers, they ain't got no time to go and watch you go and play football, because the struggle is real. I grew up in a single parent family. My mum ain't got no time to be standing on a football watching me play football. She's trying to make 2 ends meet, and that's a lot of that is like that with single parent families. So you didn't have the backing of your parents. So what happened is, when I got to like 14, and I was able to stay out a lot longer, go youth club, girls were getting their shape. You're becoming more aware of yourself and wanting to look nice, go to the disco. I didn't have no one to rein it in and say, Rick, keep focused on football. So what happened at 14, 15, I kind of just went down the street life, got expelled from school, stopped going training, and just got myself into that life. And that's how I eased into crime. So after 5 prison sentences, I think what was the key for me, the 4 times that I was incarcerated, that was in youth custody. And I tend to find in young offenders institutions, no one ain't really trying to help you to get along. Everyone's playing the bad man. But my last sentence, what I got 4 years for, I served that in adult prison. And while I was in adult prison, I got a good kick up the backside in a nice kind of way. Because while I was in prison, I used to play football for the prison officers, as well as the prison team. But when I'd done this in Big Man prison, 2 guys come to me after and they said, mate, what are you doing in there? What are you doing in there? And I thought to myself, what do you mean? Because at first they said I was taking liberties with them. And I said, what do you mean I'm taking liberties with you? Who are you? I don't even know you. But they were saying, bruv, you're taking liberties with us. And they were using choice words. And I couldn't understand why they were annoyed at me, because I don't know you. And they would say, listen, what we saw you do in the gym the other day, bruv, what are you doing in there? You're throwing your life away. They hadn't seen that level of talent in prison. And so they came to give me a good kick up the backside. And so this is the first time any male adult had spoken anything positive into my life. I was learning about my male masculinity on street. And on street, man just want to make money. So, we're committing burglaries and robberies to make money. But this was the first time someone spoke something positive. I knew I could play football because, like I said, my pedigree is football, always has been. But between 14 and 19, I've been in prison 5 times, but the last time it was with adult prison. And when I was looking at men old enough to be my dad still in prison, I said to myself, nah, man, I can't be coming out of prison at 30. And so I feel like this was a pivotal moment when them guys saw me play football, come and gave me a good kick up the backside in the nicest way and said to me, bruv, if I was you, don't serve the time, let the time serve me. What they were saying is don't sit down until you get released and then figure out what you want to do. Start doing something about it now. In prisons, they've got some of the best gyms. Yeah. We can be in the gym every day. So what they were saying is prepare yourself now. So once you get released, you can hit the floor running if you get the opportunity. And so that's what I done. I came out and I said, as long as I can keep away from certain men and keep away from certain pool houses and pool calves, if I can stay on the street long enough, I know I will get the opportunity and the rest will be history. And that's what happened. So my transition into football, it wasn't difficult at all. Because if you go back to my school football, that's all I was doing. That's all I was playing.
I promise you, Ricky, right? I don't suppose many, if any, Birmingham City fans have ever heard that story before, but that has absolutely put goosebumps on my arm, mate, honestly.
Full credit to you, man, for what you went on to do after.
Right, a bit of breaking news, ladies and gents, if you don't mind. Ray posted earlier that Bristol City may come in for a late bid for Christian Pedersen, and I've just had it confirmed that Bristol City are making a late swoop, Christian Pedersen. There we go. So we'll have to wait and see what happens there. The votes are in, ladies and gentlemen. They'll be counted and verified by our independent adjudicator. Please don't swear as you're on the live on the Tilton Talk Show. And the votes are as follows. I came last with 2.
Right.
Chris, you were next with 3. Paul, you were next with 5. And Mark, you were top with 8. These
No
would just
way.
take just over a few minutes, right? So, Mark, they actually think that you were Puff the Magic's tail, Puff the Magic Dragon's tail. Can you please, Mark, reveal the real identity of Puff the Magic Dragon's tail?
Well, I'm talking to him. Nick.
It was me.
It was Nick. It wasn't me.
And I was about 7 at infant school, and I was crying because I'd got a pair of green ladies' tights on, and there was a hole in them.
No.
In front of me, and then somebody else played the part of the head. So yes, I, ladies and gentlemen, was Puff the Magic's tray.
And he lived by the sea.
So going back,
Ricky, can you answer me a very, very serious question?
Yes, sir.
What's that plant behind you, mate?
Oh, that's just a normal plant now, man. I'm all legal.
We don't know.
Yeah, I'm all legal now. That's a normal house plant now. Yeah.
Tate's just said that he's listening. He says, "Tell him I love the geezer, and I'm so glad that he's doing well." There's from Tate.
Oh, bless you, man. Bless you.
Ricky, I'm fascinated. I know you've talked about your transition into football, but I'm quite fascinated about your transition into Christianity and the faith and that. Like, you know, what was that? How did that moment happen? Was it another kick on the bomb?
The truth of the matter is, it wasn't a moment. It was a series of moments, footsteps. I like to call it, because I can go back to when I was serving my 4 years on the Isle of Wight, 1988, late 1988, just when I got my 4 years and they shipped me over to the Isle of Wight. I just remember there was this kind of presence. I felt this kind of presence, but I couldn't explain it. I couldn't articulate it. Yeah. Now, I've always believed in God. I didn't grow up in church. My mum didn't take us to church. My granny was a praying woman. She used to go to church. And I remember there was a period, must have been about for 9 months, when my granny took all of me and my brothers and my cousins, which was about 8, 9 of us. She took us to her church. But that only lasted about 6 months. You know, we had to persuade her to go to church. At the time, they used to, you know, the fruit polos. So we used to say, well, come to church if you buy us the fruit polos. So we went to her church, but that was for about, that was for about 6 months. But although I didn't grow up in church, I always believed there was a God. And as I got older, funny as it may seem, but I always associated smoking weed and listening to roots and cultures type of music. In a lot of those musics, it's very spiritual. Yeah. Do you understand? So that kind of enhanced my belief that there is a God. So when I started feeling this presence, I just felt this presence, but I couldn't explain it. That was 1988. And there's a series of events that led on from once I got released, once I got into football, certain things that was happening that, nah, man, this, you know, it shouldn't be happening. How has it happened that way? But again, I wasn't a believer. I wasn't going to church. I wasn't reading Bible. But I remember one day when I realized what was happening, I was actually playing a game and it happened at St. Andrews. And believe you me, if there's a gypsy curse at St. Andrews, or if it's on a graveyard, listen, let me tell you something. I remember a game playing at St. Andrews, and I was playing on the left near the dugout bit, yeah? So we was kicking towards the Tilton. And it was one of those rare moments when the ball's on the other side. So I'm kind of watching the game, but I'm actually saying to myself, gosh, what am I going to do when my career finishes? Because life don't get any better than this. At the time, a game we're playing in front of 20,000+ fans. Do you know what I mean? I'm living in a nice house in Sutton Coldfield, driving a nice car, earning decent money. I've got fame and fortune, making my mum happy. And I just remember just that occasion where I thought, gosh, man, what am I going to do when football finished? Because I've never done a day's job, never worked. What am I going to do? And I heard it so clearly. I just heard the words, you're going to serve me. And I remember running, give me the ball, come here, give me the... And I tried to run off what I just heard, but I couldn't run it off. And I remember all the way to the game finished, I don't even know what the result was. I was in the change room getting ready, and all I kept just remember hearing is, serve me, serve me. And I was going home, and I was supposed to go out that night, but I was so disturbed with that I'm just sitting at home. The guy said that we're going out. I said, nah. And all I kept thinking is, serve me. And I understood what it was, because while I was doing that, I was going all the way back over the events, past events, where I could feel this presence, but I can't understand it. I can't articulate it. And it took me all the way back to 1988. And that's when the penny dropped. Serve me. So that presence that I was feeling was God. And God was calling me. And so, although I was aware that was God, that was 1995. But I didn't give my life to the Lord until 2004. So I was still living a raggedy life, but I was still spiritual, because, I'm still smoking my herb. I'm still believing that right now we grow on Solomon's grave, and anything that is natural is godly. So I still believe that the weed smoking and the God it's all spiritual. But it wasn't until 2004 that I actually surrendered and gave my life to the Lord, because other events transpired where I felt that presence again. And I just realized that God was calling me, and I couldn't run anymore. And so I just had to surrender. But my calling was rough. My conversion was difficult. I always say to my congregation that there's 3 types of ways a person comes to Christ. It can come being born into a Christian family, and so they grow up going to church, and that's all they know. You can have those who come to church because they're going through difficulty, rough times, and they come to church and they want to get prayer, and then they kind of continue to pursue that walk of faith. And then you've got what I consider myself to be a kicker and screamer. God's been calling you for years, but I've been kicking and screaming, refusing to come. Why? Because for me, in my mind, I understood that Christianity means there will be some things I have to stop doing. And I wasn't prepared to stop doing what I wanted to do. I was enjoying my life. I was playing football. I'm earning money. I've got fame. I've got fortune. Why do I need to go to church? I'm blessed. Look at my life. But I was running. And so my conversion was rough, because I lost everything.
Really?
I lost everything. I lost money that I invested in business. I lost family. I got my house repossessed. I lost everything. When I actually gave my life to the Lord, I was on my face. I had to go to my brother and live with my brother. So when I gave my life to the Lord, I was angry. While I was going to church, I was angry, because I couldn't understand, how comes I've lost everything? How have I gone from £1 million player to jumping on a bus? I was asking God some serious questions, because my conversion was rough. But that's because I was hard-headed. And as it transpired, as I continued to pursue my walk of faith and grow, then it all started to make sense. And I realized that, you know what? For me, I thank God that he allowed me to play football. He allowed me to do all what I wanted to do, because today I can sit here and say, my cup is full. I don't need to run out there and try and have any new thrills. I've had it all. I've experienced it all. Now my life is about trying to encourage others to understand what spirituality is all about, and to understand what a life lived with Jesus Christ is. So for me, it was a slow burner from 1988 that when I heard God's voice say I'm going to serve him, that happened another 2 more times when I heard that voice. So I realized from 95, God was calling me, but I was still kicking and screaming until 2004 when I just had to surrender.
Adam says, Ricky, it's no surprise you became a pastor. Sorry?
From Steve Portman. Steve Portman's one of our lovely chaps. He's one of the members of the Birmingham City Disabled Supporters Group. And he says, you know how great Ricky is, ... Even the missus is enjoying the show and she hates football for some reason.
Oh, you're disappointed.
Wow, you are making massive people out there tonight, Ricky. You really are.
Thank you.
And also,
thank you.
And also, sorry, Adam's just said, no surprise you became a pastor because when you speak, you are inspirational. There you go. That's
absolutely right.
Thank you.
I love it.
I
love it.
Yeah. Jason Hughes is asking Ricky, what is that picture behind you? Is it a football-related picture? And is it you celebrating the goal at Anfield, I'm thinking?
Anfield, man.
Looks
When
like
you
it.
scored at Anfield, yeah?
Yeah.
Thought it would be.
Yeah.
That one. Yeah.
Super.
Let's have a look. Let's have a look
at this.
Goosebumps. Just thinking about it. Yeah. Oh,
yes.
Look at that.
Nice, isn't it?
Yeah. That is fantastic. Yeah.
Ricky,
Brilliant.
Ricky, what are the mementos you got from your career? Have you kept your shirts, your medals? You know, have you still got them?
I've got the auto windscreen. That was a rubbish medal, by the way.
What's it?
Poor, man.
It was a good trophy as well, mate.
I got better medals when I was playing under-9s, under-10s football for my Saturday and Sunday team. Honestly, I couldn't believe it. When we got up to the stairs, when we all climbed the Wembley stairs, and we got to our trophies, I mean, you want to see us? We was looking at this and thinking, what the is this? Honestly, it was horrendous.
The darts competition local pub, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was just wooden.
Yeah.
It was just wooden with some silver. I mean, we got into the change room and just flag it down. It was rubbish.
Yeah.
And so I haven't got that, but what I have got is it still there?
Careful.
Although it's off,
Careful what you put out, Ricky.
it's off the chain, but I still got the division, the championship medal.
Yeah.
It's come off the thingy there, but it's still there.
Keep it.
Yeah, brilliant. We better get on.
Ricky, would you do us a favour?
Go on.
Yeah.
Now, Paul, that's your question about the photograph behind you. Paul's asked you a question, right? Would you do us a monster of a favour? Would you have that copied for us, printed, and would you sign it, send it to Chris, and we will auction it as part of our charities that we're doing so much work for this year, which is PTSD, Birmingham Homeless Support Team. Oh golly, Paul Devlin's
Annie's charity. Annie's charity.
And you know, lots of other things. But like,
Homeless.
if we could have a copy of that, we know.
No problem. Just
not the original, my friend.
We'll get
You to keep that original. We don't want to ask anything super special, like. But if we copy that photograph, sign it back, and on the front, or on the front. No, on the front probably is best, isn't it? So you can display it, and we'll auction that, and we'll raise a few quid for it. And every single penny that we raise, always goes to the charities.
We'll raise a load.
Consider it done. Just send me you guys' address where I can post it to.
Yeah, we'll get Craig to do that.
Consider that done.
Will do that. Yeah.
Chris Brown will organise
got a bid.
Craig.
Yeah, we'll sort that out.
Brad will organise that through Craig. Get it, Rick. Send you a message.
No problem.
What was that, Paul?
I'll let you.
Someone's already bid £100 for that.
Really?
It's an absolute. It is a Birmingham City
mad.
iconic moment. We all that are of the age to be able to remember it.
That's crazy. It's crazy. So Ricky, there's a bid on that before you've even sent it.
Well, I'm gonna look into my archives because I know years ago I had a stream of different photos, and I may have one more original copy. I'm gonna look. If I have, then I'll send that original one as well, because I think the photographer at the time, he must have gave me about 4 or 5 of those same pictures. So let me go and look and see if I've got one. If I've got one of them, then I'll send that one and don't get it printed. But I will send it all the same and sign it.
Amazing. We better get onto your team, Ricky. We better get onto your team, mate.
We've got loads to do yet. Yeah, get onto the
team. Just remind us how much that bid is. This photograph, Ricky. Listen to this.
Well, it's which one? The one that he's just sent. He's just said, it's £100 already.
£100
Tim Faraday's bid £100 already.
£100, yeah.
Wow,
it's crazy.
That's amazing.
It's crazy.
That's amazing.
That's how much of an iconic moment it was for fans, mate, honestly.
Yeah. Right then, Paul.
Right, ladies and gentlemen,
Ricky.
we're coming into the last 15 minutes. And do you know what we're going to do tonight? We're going to talk about nothing, because this man has been an inspiration to every single one of us. Normally, in the last 15 minutes, we have one hell of a good look, Ricky.
We haven't got
but
time.
You're talking tonight inspired me, certainly. I know it has the rest of the team. And I know it has many people out there. So we're just going to continue this conversation, because this has been off.
Yeah,
Nick,
so,
we're going to quickly go to Ricky's team, if that's okay.
So you're 1 to 11, Ricky. So you're,
my 1 to 11.
Quick.
The players that you played with for us.
Be careful, Ricky. Be careful.
Listen, there's so many players I can't even remember. So I'm going to stick with what I know as the basics.
Okay.
Right.
We'll help you out if you struggle a bit.
Yeah. I'm struggling because, gosh, man. All right, I'm going to go. This is my back four as I know it.
Yeah, I know what it'd be. I know what it's going to be. It's going to be Chris Brown, Mark Adams, defence, Paul Hipkins in midfield, and me up front. Yeah.
I wish.
Go for it. Go for it.
All right. I'm going to go for John O on the left back. I'm going to go for Michael Johnson on the left back.
Oh, he'll be happy with that.
Yeah,
we'll be tough.
Right. My centre backs. Well, I mean, I had the privilege of playing a couple of times and driving him to the train station most afternoons. Steve Bruce, you got to put in a doubles captain. You can't not. And this is where my struggle is right now, because you guys just reminded me. Well, I didn't need to remind him, but there's Liam Daish, who's going to have this other little centre back. I'm struggling with Liam Daish and Dave Barnett. Because here's my argument. They're both aggressive. Yeah. They're both aggressive, but I feel like Dave Barnett might just get in because he's got the pace. I think if there's the only thing that kind of Liam Daish lacked was the pace. I feel like Steve Bruce could do what Liam Daish does, so therefore I will put Dave Barnett, because Dave Barnett will be able to kind of, his recovery might better. So I'm going to go with Bruce and Barnett at centre-back. And this was a tricky one, but it just came to me late, and I had to remember, because he was always a rock-steady, calm influence, but a great servant to Birmingham City. Franey at right back.
John Frayne,
definitely.
John Frayne,
yeah.
Great player.
Okay. And in goal, who's in goal?
Benno, obviously, innit? I only remember playing with Benno at Birmingham. I only remember Benno.
How strong was that weed?
Who was it?
Like Frayne. John Frayne was more of a left back, you know. He was more of a left back. It was more Gary Paul right back them days.
I know. Well, I was wrestling with Gary Paul, and then I thought to myself, I'm sure Franey played at right back. All right, well, I can put Franey on the left because John was quite versatile. He can go on the right. But
that'll do.
They're in my team. All right, so in the middle of the park. I mean, I love this guy. I love guys who are fearless. Yeah. And I got to put Wardy in there.
Oh yeah, what a player.
Got to put Wardy in there because he was a pit bull, man, and he can ping a pass. So Wardy will get in there, and oh my goodness, I've got to do it. I've got to make it look good because I've been bigging up my boy all evening. So I've got to put Tatey in the middle of the park. Tatey's got in the middle of the park.
You succumbed.
Yeah. You couldn't knock.
I'll put Tatey in the middle of the park. So Tatey, you're in.
He's not
but you need to be scoring.
He's not going to put you in.
Tatey, you're in, but you need to come off that wacky backy. Right? And on the left...
sorry. Off the press, Craig Courtney. Ladies and gents, off the press, Tatey will join us on the 8th of March. Whoa. And then big Kevin Francis on 29th. Woo.
Yeah. On the
excellent.
Left.
And on the left, I'm going for Jose Dominguez.
Oh, yeah.
Jose got to be in there. And then I struggled now because I couldn't remember enough. So I put him in because I couldn't remember. So I'm going to put Louis Donowa on the right for his pace.
Louis,
you know what I mean? Yeah. I'm going to put him on the right for his pace. Sometimes his end product wasn't always the greatest, but I couldn't remember any other players at the time. So I put Louis Donowa in. And then up front, well, my first striker is a no-brainer for me because this guy, he exceeded my expectations. his appearance was very scruffy. He reminds of me. You remember when you look at Scooby-Doo? You remember if you watch Scooby-Doo?
Shaggy.
And you remember
Shaggy.
Shaggy?
Yeah.
This is the only way I can describe him. Steve Claridge, man.
Oh,
Steve
yeah.
Claridge. You know what I mean? Steve Claridge, he goes onto the pitch, he just looks rough and rugged. You know what I mean? But as a player,
Great player.
he scores goals, man. He does it, and
he
he hits it. But this is where I struggle now, because I there was a couple of players that I've played with at Birmingham, but no one is standing out or definitively. And if I've forgotten anyone, because I know Jason Bowen was very quick, he was very nimble.
Yeah.
I can't remember if I was there with Ken Charlie. I'm trying to remember anyone else, but I said to myself, I had so much fun with Big Kev. He was just so awkward. I mean, no player wanted to go next to Kevin because you come out with a black eye or a broken nose because he was so gangly. I'm gonna put Big Kevin there because he's my boy, man, and I think him and Claridge will still cause damage, even though Kevin he wasn't your type of flair player. No. But I think what he does well. But Claridge will always get you the goals. So that's my 12. That's my no, that's my 11.
That's
Sorry,
11.
11.
I
that's my 11.
Right.
Please don't ask me to name subs.
No.
All right, cool.
Nigel has got a little suggestion for you, Ricky. At the back, he thinks you should have played Key on the left and Backy on the right. And a message from Dave Ridgway. Ricky has been one of the best ever guests. Superb. What a guy. Tops.
Thank
Wonderful.
you.
Super.
Yeah, it's been fun. It's been real fun.
Been good.
Sorry, Nick.
Somebody just asking as well.
Go on, Paul.
Who's the captain, Ricky? Sorry, Nick.
Yeah, you're right.
Tatey, of course.
Tatey's captain, yeah?
Tatey's captain.
That would be interesting, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Right, Mark Meredith. This is a question for you, Ricky, and it's direct, right? And it's direct, and I mean it. Have you ever thought about bringing out a book? One I read a few years ago, From Premier League to Prison Cell. Would love to read your journey. Wow.
Oh, that'd be a good book, Ricky.
I am in the process of writing my book, but it's just about managing my time because that's something I've got to work on. I remember a couple of years ago, honestly, I was just sitting there thinking about it and call it divine, whatever you want. But, I think I heard it straight from heaven that God told me to name my book From Prison Pitch to the Pulpit. And that's going to be the name of the book.
Great name. Yeah.
Wow.
Prison
Steve
Pitch
Portman,
to the Pulpit.
again from our Disabled Supporters Club, who's was listening earlier, but she doesn't like football. Mrs. Portman hasn't got a clue about 1 to 11, but she's still chuckling in the background. That is superb. And somebody else, Ricky, said, I think it was Linda Magna. Was it Linda? Yes, Linda Magna wants Otto and Tatey on together, please.
Ooh,
Otto and Tatey on together. Could you imagine the duo?
Otto and Tatey show.
That'd be a great show.
Chris wrote, absolutely superb tonight. Thanks, Ricky. There's just so many lovely messages coming in about you, my man. Wow.
Yeah.
I can't believe it. It's nearly 8:55 already. What this?
Flying by, innit?
Look, I've still got goosebumps on my arm. Look at that. And I'm not joking. And I've had them on all night long. There's only ever Birmingham City Football Club that does that to me. Ever. if somebody scratches me back.
We did have a couple of other things to talk about tonight.
I've still got goosebumps on my arms, man. I've been like this all night. Literally on the edge of my, well, not even on the seat, I'm on the floor, but literally on the edge of my chair, if you know what I mean. This has been just an absolute inspirational hour and a half. I was thinking today, oh God, what are we going to talk about tonight? Okay, the Liverpool goal. But you know what, man? This has flowed like a river. Like a river down a mountain.
I'll tell you what we haven't. Sorry, Nick. I'll tell you what we haven't mentioned, Nick. The Ipswich goal.
The opening day of season, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think Tatey scored in that game as well.
Tatey scored in that game, yeah. He scored the first goal because we was 1-0 down, weren't we?
We losing half time.
Yeah.
Well, look. Think about it. Now that you've brought it to my memory, it was Wardy that passed that ball to me, wasn't it? And then I touched it first time and scored.
Yeah.
So I was, you see the triangle: Wardy, Tatey, Otto.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Wardy and Tate, he's in my first 11.
Yeah, well done.
Yeah.
You see the connection? I think I might make a manager after all.
Yeah.
But I mean that game. Do you know why that game was so? I think pivotal for me, because I think I mentioned it earlier. I think when I came to Birmingham, when I first signed, Barry built me up to be a striker. So I think most of the fans expected me to come in as a striker. And when I weren't getting the goals, I felt there was a little bit of a confusion as, you know, what have we actually bought here kind of thing. And I think it got hidden a lot under the momentum that Birmingham had anyway. The expectation to win Division 2, you know, the trip to Wembley. So it got kind of masked, that little bit of, what have we actually bought here? Do you know what I mean? But I think it took until near the end of that season when we done the double, that I think fans starting to cotton on that actually he's not actually a striker. And then, this is just my opinion, I felt that people's view of me started to change. Because at the end of the day, when you're coming to a club, big money, people want you to hit the floor running. And because I wasn't scoring goals and I wasn't even playing at the striker, I think a lot of fans was like, what have we actually bought here? Do you know what I mean? What's going on, man? I don't want you crossing balls. I want you scoring goals. And I felt that kind of tension. And, you know, I blame Barry for that, because he just wanted to get the money to get me to the club. Yeah. So he was going to say whatever he was going to say to the chairman. But when you're doing that, you've got to remember what it looks like to the fans. The fans think they're getting a striker when you've got a midfielder. So when we got to the Ipswich game, that was at the beginning of the season. I think by then, opinions were starting to change a little bit, and people were starting to just take on board what type of player I was. And so when we played that game, that goal, I was doing things like that at Southend and Orient. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because again, I felt like I'm starting to feel a connection with the fans. I think they're starting to understand me. And so when I got that goal, that was another explosive moment for me, because that's what I really wanted to show the fans, what I'm capable of doing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? In my rightful position. And I felt like once I felt I was getting the fans on my side, I'm able to play the football and not worry if I make a mistake that fans are thinking, oh, come on, man. I think they started to understand my game, and goals like that. I wanted to continue. Yeah. But again, remember, that season, Barry got caught up in, we just had a stupid, ridiculously sized squad, and I couldn't build up enough momentum. But for me, that goal kind of, I think, made the Birmingham City fans think, rah, I could see why. I could see why Barry bought that kind of money. So for me, that was a little bit of a restoration or redemption kind of feeling for me towards having that kind of relationship with the fans.
Ricky, 2 minutes to go. John Smith says, guess Ricky, honest, authentic and entertaining. Nigel Mann wants From Prison to Pasta by Ricky Otto. Absolutely brilliant and honest stories from Ricky, an inspiration to all, especially at these times. No, this might be an annoying request, but Otto, inspirational. I am studying theology and want to do some form of ministry. I feel God is calling me to Brum. I was wondering if it were possible for me to get in touch with Ricky, talk and pray about it. Totally understand, absolutely. If not possible. Stuart Hind. No. Wow, Michael Woods, what a brilliant show. Ace guest tonight, Ricky Otto, inspirational, honest, general, good guy. Well done, Ricky. Fantastic show. This is they're just on and on. Wow, you know what? I'm put away by this one, gents. I'm really for you.
It's been absolutely amazing. It really has, and you know, thanks for giving up your time, and thanks for the memories.
No, it's been a privilege.
For the memories, they'll always be there.
Been a pleasure.
Can you see that?
Yeah.
Mate, I've had goosebumps on my arm for an hour and a half. I haven't, and it won't go away, and I don't think it'll go away all night, because this has been just over the top, man. Bright in a good way, proper. Wow.
No, listen, it's been a privilege being there, man. Honestly, it's been a privilege being there. Thank you.
Bless you.
If you will have me, then we'll do it again.
Always.
You know what? I think our lot out there would have you every week. But I promise you.
I think we need a part 2, don't we? We could go on all night.
Ricky part 2. Yeah.
Ricky, please don't forget Michael Cleary, who's asked for prayer for a great who passed away suddenly last Friday. That's Michael Cleary. I'm sure you'll remember him in your prayers later.
Yeah,
on
I will
tonight.
do. I will do, definitely.
If you want to get into the gentleman that's asked about ministry and one thing and another,
let him get to Craig.
We'll do that. We'll through Craig Courtney. Craig, if you could all accept, that would be absolutely superb.
Yeah.
I don't want to. I never stutter. I've been a DJ all my life. I don't stutter. I stuttered because I do not want to end this show. I don't want to end it.
No, I don't either.
I need to go to the toilet.
We've got one more questions. We've got probably 1 million and one more comments. And this was the show. I honestly, I'm going to really have to tell you. I sat down this afternoon and thought, well, what else are we going to talk about apart from Ipswich and that goal? And it is just gone. Well, I'm blown away, Chris. I really am.
Very inspirational show tonight.
Yeah.
Very
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Ricky,
Yes, sir.
When COVID is over, we, as Birmingham City fans and as a Tilton Talk Show, want to come to your church to you morning, or one afternoon, or one evening. Yeah,
and do a show.
We will make that. Yeah. We will come to your church. We will say our prayers with you, and please remember again in your prayers tonight, everybody. Ricky, Pastor Ricky, 4 times in prison.
5.
4. Was it 4 or 5 times in prison? 5 times in prison, to a professional footballer, to a pastor who now nurtures and looks after great people around across our great city of Birmingham. Like, you know what? This guy actually deserves a complete and utter Tilton Talk round of
applause. Yeah, absolutely.
You're
making me get emotional now.
It's been a pleasure watching you over the years, but it's been an even bigger pleasure to get to actually talk to you, Ricky.
It has, yeah. It has.
You know the thing about it is, and I'll be honest with you, it's because I've been speaking on the platforms of my old clubs, Orient and Southend. For a number of years, I've kind of just kept myself to myself. I remember when I was playing football, one pro said to me, it's a long time retired, but Rick, it's better to be missed than to be seen all the time, because, I've seen a lot of pros when they've had to retire, because it's such a fantastic life, they've never been able to let go. And so you see pros coming back to game after games. It's almost like they want to relive that history. And I always promise myself that whenever that time comes and it's over, it will stay over. I wouldn't want to see myself just trying to relive memories in public. But I say that to say, I've kept myself away from football for a number of years because I had to transition back into normality and everything else what was going on. But I've said to myself over the last year, the football has been such a huge part of my life that I've not really connected with any platforms from fans or anything. So it's only been over maybe the last 6 to 7 months, last year, I'd say, where I've kind of like been contacted and to have these shows, because I've literally just parked the bus on my football career. So honestly, what I'm telling you, for me, I've deliberately been intentional to come on these shows because football has done something for me, as well as me being a part of the fans' memories. And so I've kind of just put myself out there and been on these talk shows. I've not done many, but I've done one with Orient fans and I've done one with Southend fans, and I feel so humbled and privileged because I've sat down for years and just thought and talked to myself about these experiences, but I felt like I needed to come out, so to speak, and just kind of be approachable so that we can have these conversations, because I think there is a little bit of myth to me, bad man, football, drugs, but there is a lot more to me than that. And I think these platforms, I think it helps to kind of dispel a few myths and kind of just maybe just set a few records straight and have a laugh at the same time.
Ricky, you know what? You don't have to take any record straight with any Birmingham City fan. Do you know what you've done tonight? You know what you've done tonight?
Go on.
Go ahead, sir.
have just scored that goal again at Liverpool tonight. You really have.
Yeah.
You have put yourself back on that map with Birmingham City fans. There's an understanding about you and about you as a person and as a player and as a pastor and the journey that you've gone through. Like I said earlier in the show, we really weren't interested in what happened, what you did, why you were in. I didn't know it was 5 times until tonight. That, for me, what the line was when you became a Birmingham City footballer to now. All right. And the journey that you've gone on to be there is absolutely second to none. It has to be documented in a book. Please, please, please write it. Because I tell you what, there's people out there tonight, Birmingham City fans, literally across the globe, that their hearts are 10 times bigger tonight, without a doubt.
Yeah.
We will have to do a part. We'll have to do a part 2. A message from Kevin Francis.
We'll do a part 2. A message. And don't forget to remember in your prayers tonight, ladies and gents, Michael Cleary.
Michael Cleary.
Michael Cleary, yeah. So from Mr. Mark Adams, a.k.a. Mr. Robe, thank you so much, dude.
Take care, everyone. Have a good week.
Chris. Go on, Chris.
Paul Hipkins. What a night. What a show. Paul Hipkins. Wow.
Brilliant. Good night. All I think Chris wants to say something.
I just want to say, just before I go, a message from Kevin Francis. He says, I love him like a fat kid loves chips. Good night.
Brilliant.
Listen, it's been a privilege, man. It's been a pleasure, honestly. Really has. Thank you.
I've loved every minute, mate. I've loved every